green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this hooded infinity scarf. So that's what we're doing. There's not really a lot that we need to say before we get started. We can probably just get straight into making it. I do need to mention, however, that for this you're going to need 4 skeins of the particular yarn that we're using. So it's a medium worsted. I do show you all the tiny details on the label before we start. So I'll be showing you the label of what we're using. But yeah, just bear in mind we need 4 of these. I thought we needed 3, but no, we needed more. So there's that. So yes, I've nearly finished this. This is what we're working with. This is what we're doing. Yeah, I love it. It's great. So this is what it is. And you just chuck it on like this. And it goes like this. Yeah, it's great. It's worked out really well. And then obviously you push it back and it just becomes a nice scarf. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Alright, so there's that. Obviously I'm going to try it on right at the end. I'll do it tomorrow when there's light in the courtyard. We'll see how it looks outside in daylight. Yeah, so we're going to do that. Alright, so that's it. That's what we're doing. I don't think there's much else that we need to say. We can probably just get straight into making it. However, if you haven't subscribed but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. A big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. If you need to get in contact with me very quickly for anything, look for me on Instagram. I'm the_green_marble. And you can find me there very quickly for whatever you need help with. Yes, that's all that. Alternatively, you can email me at thegreenmarbleproject@gmail.com. So there's that too. I will be linking all my relevant links in the description. So there's going to be things like Instagram's going to be there. Patreon, Ravelry, and my website. My website, which is all updated now, so there's a page specifically on there for crochet and everything, which is I am going to include at some point an itinerary, sort of like a schedule of everything that's going to be happening going forward, you know, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that. Also, there'll be a link to my notebooks on Amazon. I'm not sure if I've actually linked specifically the journal, the crochet journal, but I might have to do that because, yeah, something as I've said, I'm super proud. It's something that people are really going to find useful, I think, you know. I'm going to find it useful once I get my hands on a copy. So I still haven't done that, which is really annoying. But yes, so, yeah, have a look at all that. Contact me if you need to. I think that's all I need to say. I think we can probably just get straight into making this. Alright, now then, to begin with, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on the label of the yarn that we're going to be using. So for this particular project, I'm pretty sure it's 3 skeins of this yarn that I need to be using. For the tester, I think that's how much I used. So we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on this label. If you need more time to have a look at anything, just pause the video. And also, I just want to mention now very quickly that if at any point during the tutorial you feel like I'm going too fast, there's a feature on YouTube where you can slow down the speed of the video. So I just suggest doing that so that you can keep up at your own pace. Alright, so this is what we're working with. And it is handmade, 100% acrylic, made in Turkey. And here are the tiny relevant details. So here it's saying that I should be using a 6 or a 7mm hook, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use a 5. As you probably know if you've watched a few of my videos, I've used a lot of this yarn. So I just find that the 5mm actually works really well with this. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the 5mm with this yarn. I might try and put in the description, I think it's an 8x10, 8 stitches by 10 rows of double crochet. Yeah, I might try and put the measurements of a swatch of what this yarn makes with a 5mm hook in the description, just so that you know what we're working with. Alright, so what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to find the end of our yarn, wherever that is, tucked right in there. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to find the end of our yarn. We're going to make sure it's not tangled. Okay, now here we are with the end of our yarn. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to make a slip knot, and to do that, what we do is we take the end of the yarn between our thumb and our index finger of our right hand. Then with the index finger and the middle finger of our left hand, we're going to wind the yarn around like this, grab hold like that, and pull through the loop, just like that. I'm actually not going to make that tail too long because I am going to crochet that in as I go along. And you'll see what I mean by that when we get to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to adjust our knot to the hook like this, and then grab the working end like this and pull tight. So now we've adjusted our knot to our hook. And what we're going to do is we're going to chain a length of 32. So this is quite like the hood that I've done in the past, but I've made some sort of adjustments because I felt like the previous one was a bit long, so this one's not as long. It's just a few stitches shorter. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 33. So to make a chain stitch, it is yarn over, pull through, so that's one chain, yarn over, pull through, that's 2 chains, yarn over, pull through, so that's 3 chains. I'm going to chain 33 and we'll meet back up and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, and here I am with that chain of 33. So what we're going to do now is we're going to skip the first chain from the hook and we're going to double crochet into the second chain from the hook. Now what you normally do, or what people normally do, is you skip the first 2 chains from the hook if you're doing a double crochet. But I'm going to be skipping just 1. I do this because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a single crochet edging around all the edges of the scooty. So for that, I just find that it's easier if, instead of the chain of 2, doing just that chain of 1, because it gives sort of two definite places for the. I'll show you when I get to it. Hopefully I'll remember. But it gives you 2 more, it defines more the places where you have to put your stitches into the row end. Anyway, we'll get to it. So skipping that first chain just there from the hook, so that one just there, you're going to move to the next one along, so not that one, but that one. You're going to move to the next one along, you're going to yarn over, you're going to insert your hook into the top of that second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet. So we'll do the next one together. So it's yarn over, go into the next chain along, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So what we're doing is we're putting a double crochet into every chain all the way back to the beginning. But into this very first one, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So I'm going to meet you for that first chain. We are going to be working double crochets into it. There's going to be obviously more than one because we need to turn to the other side of the chain. So I'll meet you on that 32nd. I said 32, didn't I? 32nd double crochet. We'll meet back up at that point and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, now here I am at that last chain. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just the 1 double crochet, I'm going to be putting 8 double crochets into that very last wall, that very beginning chain just there. So we've got, we'll do it together. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you can see we're at the halfway point. So the next 4 stitches are going to bring us right around to the other side here. So got 5, 6, 7, and that last one into that beginning chain is going to be 8. So there we go. And there we go. Now we're on the other side of the chain. So what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to make sure to work this end in as I go along. So what I do is I just hold it against the side, just like that, against the back, and I crochet around it. So what you've got now is you've got 31 double crochets all the way back down the side just here on the other side of the chain. So I'll just sort of push the scraggly end out of the way, and what you do is you just work it in under the corresponding stitch. So there's that stitch on the other side, and I'm going to yarn over and just put my double crochet into the other side of the chain just there. Hope you can see that. Hang on. There we go. So there's the stitch that you're going in above, just like that. Double crochet. So there's one, and then you've got the next one along, which is just there. So you're going to go in above that stitch just like that, and that'll be 2. So yeah, there's going to be 31. So I've done 2 of those. 31 to the beginning. I'm going to go back and sort of weave in that horrible loose end. It's not horrible. That's wrong. That loose end. I'm just going to weave it into the work as I go along, just so I don't have to use a darning needle to weave it in later on. So just like that. Where am I? There we go. Yep. So I will meet you down the other end, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, now here we are at the other end. So I've put in all those 31 stitches down from that 8 stitch chain just at the top there. So there's 31 back down to the other end. What we're going to do now is we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to turn the work. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put 32 stitches all the way up the side till we get to this increase section. So just putting in 32 stitches into every stitch. So we've chained up 1 and we've turned. And make sure you put your stitch, your first stitch, right into that stitch beneath that chain of 1. So there's that chain of 1 just there. You're going in right beneath. You know, I think the lighting's a bit wrong. All right, I think that's a bit better. So you chain 1, turn, you're going into that stitch just there beneath that chain of 1. So you're going to go in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Just make sure you're getting into that very first stitch. So like I said, 32 up the side. I'll meet you once you've done 32 double crochets, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, now here I am with those 32 double crochets up the side. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put 2 double crochets into each of the next 6 stitches. So just like this, yarn over, go into the next stitch, do 1 double crochet, and then again into that stitch, again into that stitch, we're going to do another double crochet. So that's 1. You can do it like that. You can count 1, 1, and then 2 and 2, so we've got 2 into that second stitch. Then into the next stitch along we can count 3 and 3, and then 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6, 6. So I'll meet you once we've done those. Okay, so here we are with those 2 stitches into those previous 6 stitches just there. So just like that, and now what you'll find is you have 32 stitches all the way back down the other side to this end. So you're just going to count along from here as 1, and then next stitch along 2, 3. So 32 back down to the other side. I'll meet you down here, and I'll meet you down here. We'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, here I am putting in my 32nd stitch just down the end here, right into that last stitch. So there we go, back at the other end. Now this is what it's going to start to look like. What we're going to do now is we're going to chain up 1, chaining up 1, we're going to turn the work, and we're going to put 32 stitches again, making sure to get that first one just there, 32 stitches up the side till we get to the increase section. So I'm going to meet you at that point, and we'll talk about how we're going to do the increases for this next row. I'm going to call it a half round. I usually call something like this a half round. So we're going to meet back up once we've done our 32 stitches and talk about what we're going to do for this half round. Alright, here we are up at the increase section. So we put in our 32 double crochets up to this point. So what we've got for each half round of increases is you're doing repetitions of 6 of the same thing. So for the previous half round we did 2 stitches into 6 stitches. So now what we do for this increase is we're going to put 2 double crochets into the first stitch, so 1 and 2. Then into the next stitch along, you're just going to put 1 double crochet. And that's going to be, you're going to do 6 repetitions of that. So you can count that as 1, and then you've got into the next one, so 2 stitches into the same stitch, and then 1 stitch into the next stitch. So now you've done 2 of those repetitions. So now into the next stitch, you're going to do 2 stitches into the same stitch, and you've got just 1 stitch for the next one. So now you've completed half of those. So you've got 3 more repetitions of that because you've already done 3. So you're going to do 2 into the next stitch, 1 into the stitch after that, 2 into the stitch after that, 1 into the stitch after that, 2 into the stitch after that, 1 into the stitch. So until you've done 6 repetitions of 2 into the first stitch, 1 into the next. So I'm going to meet you again when we've done that, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so here we are, and we've done 6 of those repetitions. And so now what you'll find is you have 32 remaining stitches back down to the other end. So I just find it's easier if, I mean, I know you could count 33 stitches, including this single one that you've done just here, but I just find that might be a little confusing. That's sort of the way I learned to do the other hood. So I find this way is easier if you just count the repetitions as they are, and then you've got your 32 going back down the other end. And then at that point, you're going to chain up 1, you're going to turn, and you're going to do 32 back up the other side, where you're going to start your next repetition. So I think I'll meet back up with you at that point. I'm really mixing up my words tonight. Anyway, so do your 32, back down to the other end, chain up 1, turn, do 32 back up to this side. We'll meet back up and we'll do talk about how we're going to do the next set of repetitions. Alright, now here we are on our next lot of increases. So we've chained up 1, we've turned, we've double crocheted 32 up the side to this point. Now what we're going to do for these increases, because we did a 2 into 1 stitch and 1 into the next stitch for the previous 6 slots of those for the previous increases, what we have to do for these increases is we have to put 2 stitches into the first stitch. So 1, oh, that was a mess. So 1 and 2 into the same stitch. Now into the following 2 stitches along, we're going to put 1 single double crochet. So 1 into the next stitch, and then 1 into the stitch after that. So we're going to be doing 6 repetitions of that, including this one. There's going to be 6 of those. So for the next one, it's 2 into the first stitch. So 1 and 2. And then 1 stitch into the following 2 stitches. So 1 into that stitch, and then 1 into the stitch after that. So it goes 2, 2, well, no, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So we'll do the next one. So we've done 2 of those, haven't we? So 1, 2, yep. So the next one will be the third set of this. So 2 into the first stitch, 1, 2, and then 1 single stitch into the following 2 stitches. So 1 and then the one after that. Okay, so I have 3 more sets of that to do. I'll meet back up with you once we've done 3 more sets of that, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so I finished those increases. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in our 32 double crochets down to this end. We're going to chain up 1, we're going to turn. Once again, we're going to be putting 32 double crochets back up to here again. And the next half round is going to be the final half round of increases, I think. Yeah, that'll be the final round. I will have a look before we meet up again. So I'm going to meet you back up at this point again. We'll talk about how to do the next increases, and I will see you then. Alright, so here we are at the next lot of increases. So for this set of increases, what we need to do is we need to do 6 sets of 2 stitches into the first stitch. So we're going to do 1, 2 double crochets into that first stitch, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1, and then the next one along, 2, and 3. So we're going to have to do 6 sets of those. So 2 into the first stitch, then 3 single crochets along. So that was one. We'll do the next one together. So 2 into the, I really need to stop bumping the camera. 2 into the first stitch. So 1, 2, and then 1 into the next stitch. 1 into the stitch after that, and 1 into the stitch after that. So that's what we're doing. We're doing 6 of those, and you've got 4 more to do, 4 more sets of those. So I'll meet back up with you at that point. We'll talk about what we're going to do next. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, see you soon. Okay, so here I am, and I've put in all those increases. So that's our final round of increase for this one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our 32 double crochets all the way back down to the other end. You're going to chain up 1. This time though, when you chain up 1 and turn, you're going to be doing straight double crochets the whole way around. I think at that point you've got 94 double crochets all up. So you're just going to be doing straight half rounds of no increases. And I think I did about 11 half rounds until I'd finished making the hood. Making the hood. But, you know, try it on as you go. So, you know, try the hood on, see if it's deep enough. Once it gets to a point that you're happy with, that's when you're going to start putting in the scarf bit, which we're going to, losing my voice, which we're going to meet back up for at that point. So yeah, I'm going to go away. I'm going to do my, obviously I'm going to finish this one. Going to chain up 1, going to turn. I'm going to put in my 11 half rounds with no increase. Meet back up with you once we've done that, and we'll talk about how we're going to do the scarf. All right, see you at that point. All right, now then, now that I've completed my 11 half rounds, and I'm happy with that, 11 half rounds from the increases, just a straight double crochets, no increase. What we're going to do now is we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to get working on the scarf section, or the infinity scarf section. So to do that, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting 35 double crochets back in this direction, but the third last and the second last of those 35 stitches, we're going to be crocheting them together because we're beginning decreases right away. And we're going to be doing I think it's 10 rows of decrease. So we're going to be decreasing from 35 stitches to 25, but we're always going to be doing it towards the top end of the hood. So you see, here's the hood like this, and this is the top of it. So we're starting at the bottom just here, and we're going to be crocheting up this way, and each row is going to be a decrease up this end towards the top of the hood. So let's do this. Let's put in our 30, what do we got, 30, 35. So let's put in 32 double crochets. I will meet you at the 33rd, and we'll do it together, and I'll show you what I mean. So there's 1. I'll see you at the 32nd. Alright, now here I am with my 32 double crochets up the side. So, and what we're going to do now is, so as you can see, here is the top of the hood, just so you see what we're doing. And what we're going to do now is we're going to double crochet together the 33rd and the 34th stitch. So that's like this. You yarn over, go into the 33rd stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, but leave those 2 loops on the hook. Then we're going to yarn over, go into the 34th stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. So that's 2 together, 2 double crochets together. Now we're just going to put 1 double crochet into that 35th one, just there like that. So we're starting decreases right away, and this will be the first row of decrease. So we're going to do 10 lots. Now what we're going to do, we're always going to do a decrease every row, but it's always going to be towards the top. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn the work, we're going to put 1 double crochet into that first stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into that first stitch there, double crochet, 1 double crochet. But for the second and the third, we're going to double crochet them together. So that's 1, then yarn over again, go into the third, and 2, yarn over, pull through 3. So we've double crocheted the second and the third together. Now we're just going to put a double crochet into every stitch all the way back to the beginning. And including the 2 that you double crochet together, there'll be 34 double crochets back down to the other end. So that's what we're doing. So the scarf is sort of tapering off towards the top of the hood, tapering down. And when we've got to a stitch count of 25, well, we'll talk about when we get to 25. So that's what we're doing. And once you get to the end of this row, what you're going to do is you're going to chain up 1, you're going to turn. And obviously at that point, you'll be down the bottom of the hood again. So down this end. So here's the hood like this. Or like this. I'll try and explain it in the intro, what we're doing. You should be able to see what we're doing. But yeah, definitely from the pictures, you'll definitely know what's going on. All right, so once you get to the other end, you're going to chain up 1, turn the work. And at that point, like I said, you've got 34. Yes, 34, no. This time you'll have 33 double crochets back up the other end because we've just decreased by another stitch. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain up 1, you're going to turn. You're going to put in your 33 double crochets, but the 31st and the 32nd are going to be double crochet together. So basically when you're heading back up towards the top of the hood, the third last and the second last stitches are going to be double crocheted together. And then at the end of that, when you finish that row, so you're going to put a double crochet, single double crochet into the last stitch, you're going to finish that, you're going to chain up 1 and turn. And because you're starting at the top of the hood, you're going to be, for that row, you're going to double crochet the second and the third stitch together. So you're going to put in your first double crochet, then double crochet the second and the third together. So you see what I mean? And then you'll find that from the top of the hood, that's gradually going to taper to a stitch count of 25. So we're going to be doing 10 rows of this. Please let me know if you need more clarification on that. I'll try and explain it a bit better. But you should basically know what's going on. So I'll meet back up with you once I've reached a stitch count of 25. We'll count our rows together and then we'll talk about what we're going to do after that. Okay, see you soon. Alright, so here I am with those 10 rows of decreases that I've done off the hood. So it's gone from 35 to a stitch count of 25. So just bearing in mind that the last row you've done, you would have been counting 26 because you've also double crocheted the first, the second and the third together. So you counted 26, but you now have a stitch count of 25. So yes, the reason we're not doing decreases on the other side at the beginning of the row here is because you want to keep it straight in line with the bottom of the hood. So that's why we're doing that. It's really only tapering off the top. And you'll see what I mean by that. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to readjust our hook, and then we're going to chain up 1, we're going to turn, and we're going to be doing 36 rows of just, well, trying not to bump the camera. We're going to be doing 36 rows of just uninterrupted double crochets, no increase, no decrease. And once we've done that, we're going to start increasing again to a stitch count of 35. So I'll meet back up with you once I've done my 36 plain rows. Yes, we'll meet back up then. We'll talk about how we're going to start increasing to go back to 35. All right, see you soon. All right, now then, I finished putting in my 36 rows of double crochet with no decrease or increase. But now what we're going to do is we're going to increase back to a stitch count of 36. So to do that, what you've got to do is figure out which side of the hood you're on at the moment. So the underside or the upper side, the bottom side or the upper side. So right now I'm sort of on the side of the lower side of the hood. So that means that when I chain up 1, so I'm going to chain up 1 and I'm going to turn. When I chain up 1 and turn, I'm going to be crocheting towards the top side of the hood. So for the second last stitch of the row, I'm going to be putting 2 stitches into that. So that means I'm going to be putting 2 stitches into the 24th, hang on, where am I? Double crochet into the 24th stitch. So we'll finish up I'll meet you at the end. We'll do it together, but I'm pretty sure you know what to do from here. So yes, I'll see you at the 24th stitch. Alright, now here I am on that 24th stitch, so we're going to put 2 double crochets into that stitch and just 1 double crochet into the final stitch. So just like the decreases where you were double crocheting every second and third and second last and third last stitches together, we're just increasing in 2 stitches into that second last. And obviously when you chain up 1 and turn now, because we want the tapering to be up towards the top of the hood, when you chain up 1 and turn, obviously you're double crocheting back to the bottom side of the hood. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put your 1 double crochet into that first stitch along. So where are we? 1 double crochet into that first stitch along and 2 double crochets into the second stitch, followed by just a double crochet into every stitch to the end. So obviously for the previous row you increased to 26, so for this row you're increasing to 27. And yeah, like I said, once you have increased to a stitch count of 35, we're going to meet back up. We're going to talk about how we're going to join this side to the hood. So yes, that's what we're doing. I don't think I need to explain any more to you. I think you get what I mean. If not, just leave a comment and I'll try and explain it to you a bit better. So yeah, once you get to the end of this row, chain up 1, turn, and for the next row it's going to be this second last stitch that you put 2 stitches into. Then after that you're going to chain up 1, turn, and for the row after that it's going to be 2 stitches into the second stitch. Alright, yes, so like I said, I'm going to say it again. I do that a lot, don't I? I say things sort of more than once. Anyway, so yes, I'll meet back up with you when we get to a stitch count of 35 and we will join this side to the hood together. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now I've reached a stitch count of 35, so I've increased. You see it started to taper up on one side, so on this side. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up the other side of the hood where we need to join. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so here we are. This is the other side. Making sure not to get the scarf part twisted. So here's the scarf part. And you're picking up the other side. And you'll be starting right from the first stitch along because we are on the bottom side of the hood. And that's where we're at. So what we're going to do is we're just going to single crochet join these stitches together. So that's all we need to do. And you were just working into the braided side of the stitch now. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into that first stitch along there. I don't know if I've mentioned this in this tutorial, probably not. But the way you can tell which part or which stitch you have to go into is because on the braided side, the V of the stitch that you're going to be working into falls to the top right hand side of the stitch that you're working with. It just helps, especially when you're working with double crochets, you can see that especially. But like if you're working on the other side, say for instance we're working with this stitch just here, the part that you're working into, the non-braided side, falls to the top left hand of the stitch. So just there. So what we're doing is we're single crocheting these stitches together. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into that first stitch, is straight from the last stitch that you did on the scarf part. The last stitch that you did, you're going to just put your hook through that first stitch along on the hood. You're going to make sure your yarn is to the back. Just here, you're going to yarn over, pull a loop through that stitch, just like this, yarn over, pull through 2, so we've single crocheted. So now what we do is we pull that a bit loose and we take our hook from that loop and we just sort of make sure, we push it to the side, make sure you don't lose it. So that stitch that we just did represents that stitch, that first stitch just there. So we've already done that one, so we're going to move to the next one along and we're going to insert our hook into that. We're going to readjust that loop to the hook like so. You're going to pull it through that stitch, pull tight. And now what you're doing is you're turning to the hood side again, and on the next stitch along, for the next stitch along, you're just going to put your hook through there, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've single crocheted the next one. So we're going to be doing this 35 times, obviously, because there's 35 stitches. So that's what we're doing. We've already done 2, so now we're just going to pull that loose, drop it again, go into the next stitch along on the right hand side. Try and do it neatly. So just like that, readjust the loop, pull it through that stitch, pull tight. moving to the next stitch along on the hood. So that one just there, you're going to go in, single crochet, just like that. All right, so I'll meet back up with you once we've done our 35 of those, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, see you soon. All right, so I've single crocheted, joined all those stitches to the other side of the hood. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to chain one. I'm going to find my scissors. Where are they? Where are they? All right, now that I've finished single crochet joining all those stitches to the hood, what we're going to do now is we're going to chain one just like this. We're going to find our scissors, and I'm going to cut the yarn. Now, what I actually did when I was doing the tester for this is I put the single crochet edging in straight from this last single crochet join. So what I actually did was I chained up one, and I just moved straight onto the first stitch along on the hood. So I just moved into that one. I would have single crocheted, and then what I did is I single crocheted all along the top of the hood just here, and then hang on, I'm going to take that out because I don't want it. So what I did was I single crocheted all along the top of the hood just here, moving on to the side of the hood. So what I did for the sides, and what we are going to be doing, is you're going to be putting 2 single crochets into every double crochet row end. So I'm going to show you how we're doing that. But the reason that I've cut the yarn now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to, straight from where we've cut, we're going to pull the yarn through that chain that we did, pull it through, pull tight. So we're just tying off at that point. And the reason I want to do that is because I want the single crochets to be kind of fluid, more sort of rounded around the top of the hood, so that they're not sort of square look, well, not square looking, but I don't want it to have any sharp angles there. So what I'm going to do is, and I want the braided side to be facing. So here is the front. This is, yes, make sure that the right side of the hood is facing you. So the right side of the hood is turned out. And you'll be working from this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down to the bottom just here, and we're going to start into one of the double crochet row ends. So I'm just going to put that down there like that for a minute. Also, I sort of underestimated how much yarn, no wait, underestimated? Yes, I did. I underestimated how much yarn that this needs. It actually, I think, needs 4. Well, 3 and a bit, but I don't actually have enough left to finish all those single crochets and then do the single crochets on the underside like I want to. So I'm going to use, I've got another one. It's not an entire skein, but just for the benefit of this, I mean, at the beginning in the intro, I'll probably tell you how many we'll be using, how many you need, but you know, I'm going to use 4. Let's just go with 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this big one where I've got more yarn, and I'm going to make a fresh slip knot, just like this. Just like this. So I'm leaving a bit of a tail because I'm going to weave that in as I go along. What we're going to do is we're going to be making sure you're going into the side that you want to go into. I mean, we're going into both sides doing this, but, and obviously for the underside, it's all going to be double crochet row ends. So there's not going to be any stitches. But for this, because we're working into the top of the hood, you've got those stitches up there. So, like I said, we're starting here at the bottom. Now what you're going to do is you're going to just pick a row end, you know, and we're going to be working into that. So as you can see here, let's just say, for instance, for the benefit of this, I'm going to be working into this one. So I'm going to find there should be, yeah, okay. So it's got 2 parts, this part and then the stitch part just up here. But say if you are working, I'm going to actually, for the benefit of this, show you the next one. Oh, this one just here. No, we'll go into the one. We'll go into the one I chose. So we're going to use this one. We're going to go into that first space. You're going to put your hook through there like that. You're going to adjust your slip knot that you made to that hook, to the hook, pull it through that row end, or that part of the row end. You're going to pull the slip knot tight. Then you're going to chain up 1, just like this. Now holding that end against the side for you, just like that, so that you can work it in as you go along. You're going to just put a single crochet into that same part of the row end that you've already gone into. So just there, you're going to go into the same part where you put a slip knot into, pull up a loop, single crochet, just like that. Now, going into the next part of that row end, you're going to single crochet, just like that. That might be a little bit tight actually, because I want to slip stitch into that at the end. Anyway, I'll fix that up later. So what I'm going to do now is moving on to the next row end. So that's just here. Now, the reason we chained up 1 for the beginning of each row was because I feel like if you chain up 2, the space that you're putting 2 single crochets into is just really big, you know, so this way it's kind of got 2 parts. That's just what I think anyway. So you can see the first part is right in there, so you're going to stick your hook. See, there's a bit in the middle, just there, that's sort of separating those 2 parts of the row end. So we're going to single crochet into that first part, just like this. And then into the second part, another single crochet. So I hope that makes sense. And then you've just got your 2 row ends just here, or 2 parts of this row end, just like that. Okay, so there we go. We're going to do that. You're just going to do that all the way around. And once you get to the stitches, actually, I'll meet you when you get to the top of the hood just here, and we'll move on to the stitches together. We'll just do that. All right, so I'll see you at that point. Yep, like I said, 2 into each row end. There we go, just like that. And making sure to work that loose end as you go along. All right, so I'll see you in a moment. All right, now here I am moving on to the top section of the hood. So just moving straight into that stitch, and I'm going to go into the one that we single crocheted. That was the last single crochet just there. So that one just there. Go into that first stitch on the top. Then just working a single crochet across each of the remaining stitches at the top of the hood, just like this. Then when you get to the other end, once you've finished doing that, you're just going to move on to the double crochet row ends on the other side. So straight from that, where's the last stitch? Just here. So that would be this one just here. Then you put your last single crochet into this one. Then move on to these just here. So you'll be putting 1 in there, and then obviously the 2 into the next row end. So that's what we're doing. And then once you get to the end, so you're going to work your way all the way back around to the very first single crochet just here. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 1 just there from the beginning. You're going to chain up 1, cut the yarn, tie off. I'm not too sure at this stage if I will have enough to do the underside. I probably should. I mean, they're only single crochets. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think I need to stick with you to show you how to do that, because you're just going to be doing the same thing, putting single crochets into each row end of the underside. And same process, you're going to make a slip knot, pull it through one of the row ends, chain up 1, do your single crochets. Once you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1 from the beginning, close the round, chain 1, pull, cut the yarn, tie off, you know, all that stuff. So you're going to do that. That's it. I think now all we have to do is just, you know, finish up separately. We'll go away, we'll finish our hoods. Then later on, we're going to meet back up. We're going to try on our hoods. We're going to see how they look. I already know it looks good. So, yeah, I'm just going to take this one out to the courtyard, film a little bit out there. And that's it. That's all we have to do. All right. And so I look forward to that when we try on our hoods. Now, I'll see you soon. Alrighty, here is the finished hooded infinity scarf. Yes, so as you can see, this one's really quick, really simple to make. Not a lot goes into it. It's pretty basic, super warm, super cozy. If you do, however, have questions, just like I said, let me know in the comments, or look for me on Instagram, or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help if you need anything. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I love this design. It is super warm and super cozy. I pretty much haven't taken off the tester that I made about a week ago, so it's a good thing that I've made a new one. I can start wearing this one out in public, yes. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, like I said, 4 skeins, pretty much 4 skeins. I think I have a bit left over, but to be safe, you'd want to get 4 to make this design. And so that's what I've done. Yeah, I've almost run out of this yarn, and they're not selling it anymore, so I'm going to have to move on to using something else, probably for the next tutorial. I have a bit left, but, you know, probably switch it up and use something new for a change. Alright, so yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.